Hello and welcome back to our cosy exploration of Teldrassil in World of Warcraft. If you are new here, my name is Amy. I am a fantasy writer and I also make this cosy ASMR style gaming content, usually in my favourite fantasy worlds. Now, in our first video, we started off with this brand new night elf hunter named Mistral. Mistral is named after the character in a book I am going to be writing this year. So as we get further into the game, some of my choices around her character development will depend somewhat on the book version. But for now, here we are, just level 6 in Teldrassil, and it is time to do some levelling. We have this first quest here to fly out to the night elf capital city, Darnassus. We might save that one for later. I did have a look whether I could turn off the quest markers on the map to make the experience of exploring a little bit more immersive, but I haven't found a way to do it. It is, as I said in my last video, a really long time since I played World of Warcraft, so quite a few things have changed, but not this night elf starting zone. These quests are all very familiar to me, and to be honest, I find that quite comforting. It is lovely to be back here. So let's start off with collecting these reagents. I wouldn't think it's going to take too long to pick them up. I think the drop rates, particularly in low level quests, are quite forgiving these days. So we'll start with the spiders. We are collecting webwood spider silk. I think this last spider may well do it for us. There we go. We will move on to the next animal. We can see our next destination in the distance there. We will be heading to Starbreeze Village. But I think for the time being I will focus on one quest at once. So we will do the owls next to collect the strigid owl feathers, and then we will finish with the night saber fangs. So how are you this week? How has your week been? The weather has been absolutely beautiful here in the UK, but sadly I haven't had a lot of chance to enjoy it. Work is very busy right now. I'm sure I'm not the only one in that position. My job is very seasonal. It tends to be very quiet over the winter, and and then really quite full on over spring and summer. So now that Easter has gone by, we are definitely into that period. Which is one of the reasons that I really wanted to get back into World of Warcraft and other MMOs and RPGs. Oh, there is another player there. That is the first other person I have seen in this zone. It's very, very quiet out here. But yes, I find all this levelling and exploring, even in zones, maybe particularly in zones that I have visited many times before, to be so relaxing and comforting. It is exactly what I need after I've had a very long and busy day. I am absolutely certain there are very swift ways to level up a character these days. There are in most online RPGs I've played, but that very much defeats the point for me. So let's head now to Starbreeze Village. We will go to the Moonwell first. We are filling up another vessel with Moonwell water. I'm failing to get out there. We're getting another little bit of history from this ghost. To be honest, I've already forgotten what he said the last 2 times. I do think, as I also said in my last video, that there is such a wealth of lore and history to this game. It's been around so long, and I would love to know more about it. There's probably far more in the game than I realise. I'm quite guilty of not always reading the quest descriptions, and I don't raid or do any end game content, so I'm probably missing out on a vast amount of story. These Gnarlpine, as we fight them, are running away. I had absolutely forgotten that was a mechanic. I recall that, if possible, they will run off and find more of their kind to come back and attack you. That's not something I've really come across in other RPGs. I have at times found it incredibly frustrating in WoW, particularly if you are in an area where there are a lot of enemies and you're just trying to get through quickly. But we have reached level 7. And here is Garrulus. He's actually alive, I didn't realise that. He doesn't look very lively lying there on the floor, I have to say. Picked up a sword there. I'm actually not sure what weapons I can use as a hunter. I suspect if I change to something like a sword, then I will lose access to most of the skills I'm relying on right now. So we will stick with the fairly uninspiring bow that I started with. We have got one more place to head in this village. We are looking for an emerald dreamcatcher. I really like these little night elf houses. I would like to think that if I lived in Azeroth, I would be a night elf living in one of these little isolated cottages, although they are absolutely tiny. There's our dreamcatcher, and I think we can head back now. I think I've done everything I need to in Starbreeze Village. Let's have a burst of speed. I haven't used that skill at all yet since I unlocked it. I believe mounts are available at a fairly low level these days, but I do definitely remember that grind in the early days to level far enough and collect enough gold to get your first mount. I think these days I do actually quite enjoy the experience of just running across the map, but it is definitely slow. So there's another quest handed in. Let's have a look at this other cloak we've got. That's marginally better than the first one, at least in terms of appearance. I did liken my first cloak to a bath towel when I picked it up. Yes, if I equip other weapons, I do lose those bow skills. I want to unlock the appearances of the weapons I'm picking up. I haven't worked out if there's a way to do it without equipping everything. So we're heading back to hand in some quests. Teldrassil in the rain is looking particularly lovely right now. I love the sound effects here. So here's another quest handed in. I am being sent out to a barrow next. Ah, yes, I remember these. Bannerthil Hollow and Barrow Dens. I get hopelessly lost in the barrows. There is probably an easy way to make your way round them, but I can never remember what it is, and I've done it loads of times. So I might not do that today because it is a bit tedious, trawling backwards and forwards through the caves. But the game is doing its best to give me as many bags as possible for quest rewards, so I will probably still make an effort to finish that one, but I won't subject you to me getting completely lost in the barrow, as I absolutely always do. One more quest to hand in here. This is the Dreamcatcher one. Ah, the Dreamcatcher is missing the emerald out of the centre. I think that is another quest that sends you into some kind of cave or barrow, but possibly not the same one. Oh, now we're getting in trouble for aiding Zen Foulhoof. I must redeem myself in the eyes of the council to remain a friend of Teldrassil. I don't know that there are ever real consequences in this game for completing certain quests, certainly not at low level. I think it is time to fly to Darnassus, which is absolutely my favourite city in the game. It's not as expansive or as detailed as some of the newer cities. I suppose it is showing its age a little bit, but for music and atmosphere I don't think it can be beaten. I discovered when I was last playing that my low level characters have access to all the flying routes that my high level characters have unlocked. I was a bit disappointed by that. It does reduce the immersion and the need to explore the map, which is my absolute favourite thing in game. But it is also quite useful. It does mean that I can just show you my favourite places in the game without it taking hours. And I'm hoping to explore some places that I haven't spent a lot of time. The levels required to go to the different zones are very, very different now to how they were when I last played. So for example, Northrend requires you to only be level 10, which is absolutely extraordinary to me. Outland too. I am not used to that. So we may not spend much time levelling on Kalimdor. We may head out to some other locations that I don't know as well. Now I think before we go back to questing, we will just explore Darnassus a little bit. I absolutely adore the architecture here. All the ancient carved stone and the way it is mossy and covered in vines. I do really have a bit of an obsession with elves. In fiction, in all of Tolkien's work, in gaming. I love that view. That is lovely. The lighting in here is fantastic. Oh, we have portals, Hellfire Peninsula and Exodar. Were they always there? Possibly? I've just noticed there's a quest in here for me to pick up. Let's get that while we are here. But yes, I really do love elves, and really every kind of elf. In every property I've come across elves in. Obviously they do hark back to Tolkien quite strongly in most things, and I'm very happy with that. I am a huge Tolkien fan. I also really like the Draenei, which I would probably refer to as space elves with horns and hooves. There are definitely similarities. This quest is actually sending us to Ruthuran village. I won't do that yet. I'm not in a great hurry to leave Teldrassil. We have two important NPCs here. I do like their costumes very much. And we have an emissary from the Exodar. Right, let's continue running through Darnassus. I think once we get outside, we will head along the terrace. So we will go this way and make our way back through the city. And then it will be time to resume the questing. There are so many fantastic little nooks in the cities here. They would be amazing for RPing. I have no idea if anyone still RPs in WoW. As I said, I've seen almost no one around. There was that single player out near Starbreeze Village earlier, but I did actually have a little bit of an explore the other day off camera. I went to Stormwind, where I saw, I think, a grand total of 2 people. And I also made my way all the way to Dalaran, which I always remember as being incredibly busy, and it was empty, completely and utterly empty. I was genuinely surprised. Where is everyone? In the past, I've found that even when there are new expansions to WoW, older cities are still busy and populated, but that does not seem to be the case anymore. Seeing Stormwind empty was bizarre, quite frankly. So we will say goodbye to Darnassus now and head back across the island. What are all these people doing here? I don't know if that's something to do with a event that's on right now. I'm just realising as we leave the city that I had a quest to go back via Hippogriff, or at least speak to the Hippogriff Master in Darnassus, which I missed, so we will come back to that. We're leaving now. We are on the road again. It is still raining. I don't think it was raining in my first Teldrassil video. I really like the effect though. I have done my best to keep the ambience high in this video and the music, and turn down the combat sound effects. Sadly, that means I've also had to turn down the sound of things like footsteps, but you can't differentiate between the two, and the combat sounds can be a bit irritating. Let's sell a few bits and pieces. I forgot to do this earlier. I think, will we get rid of the bath towel cloak? I think we will. I'm keeping the sword for now, but to be honest, I'm not sure I have much use for it. I've just noticed that was called Wellspring Hovel, which seems rather unfair. I thought it was quite scenic. So we have some quests down here. But this is Ban Ethel Hollow. So as I said, I'm not going to put you through having to watch me struggle my way through the cave. So we're going to skip that one and head back out onto the road, which I'm now discovering I can't do because I'm stuck in a ditch. Okay, we're out. We're back on the road now. Let's see about... Well, I think the next quest we will do is getting our own back on Zenfoulhoof, for which we need to collect 3 fell cones. But I will also just enjoy the scenery as we go. I think this is where we will head off the road and start looking for our fell cones. I can see them glinting in the distance. We only need to find 3, so this shouldn't take too long. There's 2 and we are looking for a 3rd. To be honest, I'm being lazy and looking for a way to get one without having to fight my way to it. So let's go around this tree and have a look here. There we go. Now, I think if we head down to the water down here, there is another quest waiting for us. This is Lake Al-Ameth. I do vaguely remember a quest down here. It is showing on the map. So let's take out this spider and then we will head that way. That really is the most unwieldy swimming I have ever seen. I would be very surprised if you can actually get any forward motion by replicating that. It doesn't seem to be slowing Mistral down, but I wouldn't recommend it as a swimming technique. Ah, there is our quest location. That isn't what I remembered. I thought we had to find an NPC out here, but at the same time, the strange fruited plant does look a little bit familiar. We are being attacked by a timberling. I think maybe the NPC I remember is who we have to hand the quest into. Did we get a fruit off that plant? You receive item glowing fruit. So I think that's what we are taking down here to some kind of botanist, possibly. And here he is. He seems to have a sort of work camp out in the woods. We will hand him our glowing fruit. He says it's exotic and its seeds were brought here from far off. And with that, we are level 8. We've picked up another aspect. I do once again need to sort out my skills, but we will do that later. What happened there? Oh, I think our herbalist planted the fruit we gave him, and it has spawned these boglings who very much want to kill us. So that's them taken care of. And that seems to be it. I was rather expecting more to the quest than that. I thought Darnassus was going to ask us to do something else. But apparently not. We gave him a fruit, it turned into murderous boglings, and that's it. Right, okay, let's move on then. This looks like a very pleasant fishing spot. I have learnt fishing on this character, but I haven't done any yet. So that might actually be a video of its own at some point. Our next quest to finish is the Zen Foulhoof one with the fell cones. So we're going to head up to the road near Starbreeze village and look for him again. He's not very far away. I can see the marker on my mini-map. To be honest, I think in my head Teldrassil is a lot bigger than this, and then when I'm actually running around it, I discover that it doesn't take very long to get from one side to the other. I'm once again being lazy and running round the creatures that might attack me. We're back on the road, and here he is. Now, I think the plan is that he's going to eat the fell cones we give him. There we go. He has turned into a frog by the look of it. Yep, he's a frog. Not for very long, although I think there is a lesson there that you shouldn't eat random plant materials given to you by adventurers. I think that's just a good life lesson, really, isn't it? And with that, we have completed a loop. We are coming back to Dolinar. We actually have some more quests to pick up here because we've leveled up since we were last in the village. These ones are sending us up to Fell Rock to take out Grelkin. I actually don't immediately recognise that quest. I'm sure it's one I've done before, but it doesn't immediately ring a bell. We could have some new braces from that, so it might be worth doing. I am sort of getting ready to move on and explore some new zones. At the same time, I do really love Teldrassil and part of me would like to stay, but I could save the quests for later. It would be nice to come back and have something to do. So we are now going to fly back to Darnassus, hand in that quest that I missed before, and this is also where I am going to leave you to just enjoy the ambience of the flight. So thank you very much for joining me. I will be back in World of Warcraft again soon. Sleep well everyone, and I'll see you next time.